Hmm. Most of you know that I play War Thunder on this channel. It's the main thing that I do. But oh boy, do I get my fair share of fun times in this game.
They're not fun, by the way.
Most of the time, I'm playing the American tech tree, because it's the easiest way to get any sort of experience and money. But if you were a new player, you'd most likely pick the German tech tree, and those consist of World War II vehicles at this BR.
Who thought that was a good idea?
So now you can kind of get the picture of what I'm trying to say. I don't like mid tier to up tier. It's not enjoyable to play, especially when you have a post World War II vehicle against Hesh rounds. If you don't know what that is, that's high explosive something or other. But it's modern shells that carry a lot of explosive mass and have heat fins stabilized on the back of them, making them overpowered, and especially against tanks that have no armor to fend against them. To fend against Hesh rounds, you're going to need reactive armor, which is armor that explodes on contact of the shell. But no tank at this BR until round 7.0 has reactive armor. So those rounds are going to go right through, and it's
Not fun when you're trying to kill tanks that can't pen you because of their tiny guns, Gaijin, but they have heat rounds.
anyway. I'm here playing the T-34. It's quite a good tank in the American tech tree. One of the problems that it does have, though, is that it has no rounds that it can actually explode. Only thing that it has is a heat round, but it has no penetration. So the best thing you can do with this tank is aim at a weak point on an enemy tank and hope that you hit every crew on the way, because you ain't exploding any enemy ammunition with this tank. Here I'm spotting an enemy, and then I hit a rock.
I hit a fucking rock, Gaijin.
And this enemy, guess what he has? Just guess what kind of ammunition that he has.
H-E.
And he goes right through my armor about after he realizes where my weak spot is, which is the very frontal plate of my tank, which is completely flat. There's also this light tank that also has
Heat rounds.
but in the German tech tree, it has heat rounds. But in the American tech tree, from where it was made, doesn't have heat rounds. So, explain that. Explain that. Just explain that. I also somehow bounce a shell on this light tank. It's a light tank bouncing a 120mm gun.
120mm shooting a shell the size of your head.
That's why War Thunder sometimes gets really unplayable. Now the enemy tank that's shooting at me is starting to realize my weak spot, and a whole slew of other players begin to find where I'm camping out and begin to shoot at me from every angle. This is where the T-34 comes in really good with its armor. It's able to bounce most shells. See how that shell hit my barrel? Very end of my barrel, keep in mind. And it went all the way through and killed 3 of my crew. How how does that work? It's high explosive. There's all these 2 enemies over here that somehow don't spot me, luckily. I try shooting them. My gun somehow hits the hill, even though I'm aiming 400 meters away from me with the gun sight, and it doesn't even hit them. It hits the hill. It's not even 400 meters away. It's like 200. Walk there. 400 meters is too far for me to walk. I hate 400 meters. Anyway, my gun just repaired and I'm about to fire at them. And see it, I clearly above where the hill is. And it hits it. It hits the hill.
It hits the hill, Gaijin.
That's not bad aiming. That's terrible hitboxes from the hill. Might sound like I'll be ranting off a bit too much about the stupid hitbox of the hill, but I digress. because I get two direct hits from an HE artillery and I survive, so shouldn't be complaining too much. But I focus my attention back onto the players that were shooting at me before. And this is where they get their second successful hit. Right about. I actually hit the enemy tank this time, but it also hits me, taking out one more crew. Not only that, I realize this tank is another German light tank. There's so many of them. Why? And then I get another hit. It's getting annoying at this point of constantly getting barraged by 8 rounds. While I'm over here with only APS and DS, which I mean has a lot of pen, but that's about it. I'm gonna speed this next bit up because I'm just gonna get hit for the next of the round. Da da da, boom. Da da da, boom. Da 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 da, da 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 da, boom. Da 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 da, da da da, boom. Da 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 da. You could have helped me repaired. He could have helped me repaired. He could have helped me repaired. He could have helped me repaired. I have a 45. He could have helped me repaired. He could have helped me repaired. Thunk. I'm also playing the French train next week. Stick around for that. Woo.